Today we're going to talk about how our thoughts can be sabotaging us. It's a bold thing to say, but this is possibly going to be one of the most important things. Well, it's definitely going to be the most important thing you've heard today. So I want you to stick around because it's really going to benefit you. At the end, I'm just going to show you an amazing tip, an amazing tool to rewire the mind for exactly what you do want. And we're going to talk about what you don't want. Because, these conversations we never had at school, most possibly didn't have growing up. And it's important. It helps us have a better life, and it helps us evolve. And it's just really, really good for us. Our subconscious thoughts are sabotaging our mind. And we need a tool to notice this, and then when we notice it, rewire ourselves for the positive, for the optimistic, for the neutral at the very least. So the first thing is discovering our limiting beliefs. There's been loads of studies, but they say we have between 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. How they figure out this stuff, I'm not that guy. I don't know, I can't tell you. But I've read enough stuff where they say it's 50, it's 60, it's 70, it's 80. So it's around that bracket. And that, I think they said, is around 2,000 to 3,000 thoughts an hour. So there's a lot going on up there, whether we know it or we don't know it. That 50 to 80,000 thoughts in an hour, 80% of those are negative, and 95% of those 80% are repetitive. So basically, we're all walking around, whether we know it or not, trying to get through this ambush of negative thoughts. And I'm a positive person, and I know you are too. If you're on this channel and you're watching this stuff, you're most likely optimistic or positive, or you've been down the spiral of doom. You've seen the hell states, and you've connected to that space, and you've said to yourself, I'm not going back there. So you come in the other way back up, and you're doing things like meditation, or you're exercising, or you're looking after your health, and you're thinking positively, you're reading positive psychology, you're watching videos like this, you're kind of bettering yourself because you know it's good for you. Even the best of us, the most positive among us, were programmed to have this world of negativity up here just by existing on Earth. The news, what other people are saying, what we pick up that we don't even know. If someone is around you that's negative and pessimistic, it sticks to you. And you might not even know. And if you're not meditating or doing qigong or breathing and bettering yourself in any way that you do it, this stuff can pull you down to the spiral of doom. And what happens when you're in the spiral of doom? The overwhelming cloud of meh sits on top of you. And I joke about it, I don't mean to. If you're struggling, I apologize, but we've all been there and it sucks. There's no logical thinking that can pull you out of when you hit that rock bottom. And so prevention is the cure. I'm gonna say that one again. Prevention is the cure. And what do I mean by that? Doing all the stuff that you know that's good for you. And doing it daily, because you have no idea what's around the corner. There could be some bad news. There could be some, hopefully, loads of good news. I don't want to make this all negative. We're starting low and we're ending up high, so stay with me. So, living life can be difficult. We know scientifically that we are wired to have more negative thoughts going on up here than positive thoughts. We need a tool to notice this stuff. If we're reaffirming these negative, unwanted statements about ourselves constantly, whether we know it consciously or unconsciously, then it's going to dictate how we are, who we are, what we do, our actions, our habits, our patterns, our behaviors, our destiny. It's true. We really need to fine-tune this. So I came up with a little technique. I read The Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle, if you've not read it, you absolutely must. It's a game changer. So I read this book. I was waiting for my bus from London to Leeds. I was reading this book and it pulled me into this. It was one of those things that something happened. I missed my bus. I got another bus. I was just on this bench reading this book and it spoke to me. It talks about something called the Watcher. If you remember, watching your mind. It talks about the Watcher, to be the witness of your mind. I had never known about this sort of stuff before. In fact, I read about this stuff when I was really young, when I was 15, but it went straight over my head. I just wasn't ready for it. Like, be here now. Be where now? Be what now? No thanks. That was me. It went in, it made sense. I must have started to watch my mind, the thinking mind, like what I'm thinking about. And I felt like I separated from my body and I watched myself for the first time. And it made me realize that we are not our thoughts. Our thoughts come through, not even mentioning potential collective thoughts, how we're possibly being programmed by advertising and all of this sort of stuff. That aside, I realized that I wasn't my thoughts for the first time, and it was so freeing. It was like entering that flow state of, the flow state, when you're running and you just hit that runner's high, it was like tapping into that. And I went, oh, whoa, what is this? And it was awareness. It was the now. And the now, see how the voice has changed and we've gone to a calming place? The now is free from the future thinking mind. What I've got to do, what's happening next, I will be happy when. And it's free from the past thinking mind. All that memory, what I should have said, what I could have done, all of this stuff. And then of course life happens again, and then we've got to do this, and we lose it, and we're like, oh, I just want to get back to that thing. So you keep reading this book, you keep pulling the thread. We gather more and more information, and we're like trying to logically understand it and get through it, and then inevitably we get to the same place. We're like, oh no, it's not about that, it's the opposite of that. It's about the stillness, equanimity, to be equanimous in the moment, however you want to say it. It's about learning this stuff so you can let it go and just be. You already are it. You already are at peace. It's the thinking mind that we all allow, this monkey mind, to just run riot. And until we go, oh yes, breathe in the flowers and blow out the candles. I don't know what situation you're in where there's loads of flowers and candles, but it's a great thing to remember. In fact, let's do it now. Let's take a moment and just breathe in the flowers and blow out the candles. Breathe in the flowers. Smile, blow out the candles. One more time. Breathe in the flowers. Blow out the candles. So that, carry on breathing. Carry on doing this nice, slow, calming breathing. That's a great thing to remember, to tap out of this future mind, this past mind, all of the stuff that we've got to do, all the stuff we've done, replaying memories over and over again, replaying what we've got to do in the future and over. It's all noise. And if we practice on a daily basis, coming back to this stillness, life gets easier, life gets better. We channel flow. And it's a muscle. The more we do it, this flow gets stretched out. And I remember when I started meditating daily and I started thinking about this stuff, there's these moments of stillness just went, and extended and extended and extended to a point where I felt like I could just jump into it at will. And then, of course, life inevitably happens. You get bad news, good news, bad news, bad news, good news, good news, good news. It's waves of emotion being alive. But these tools to remember, these simple tools, flowers and candles and the now and awareness, just taps you right back in. We need to watch our minds. I create this thing called the wow. It made me remember it better. WOW, watcher, observer, witness. Basically just using Eckhart's message, and it was just a way to remember it. And it was like, wow. Every time I use this, it was like the wow. So feel free to use that. Just watch what's going on up there. And so when I did this, I got really into it. And I started to notice I was constantly saying, oh, you fucking idiot. If you've watched these videos before, you'll hear me say this a lot. This was one line I said over and over. I dropped my keys. Oh, you fucking idiot. Smashed the glass. Why am I dropping and smash? I was a bit clumsy. I was very unconscious for a long time. Oh, you fucking idiot. This carried on for years. And I catch myself saying it for, silly things. And one day, after all this stuff finally clicked, I said to myself, you're not a fucking idiot. You might be a little bit clumsy from time to time, but you're not a fucking idiot. Be nicer. And it starts with ourselves being nicer to ourselves. So the first mission is to notice this weekend coming, what you're saying to yourself and what repetitive thoughts you're saying to yourself. Are you saying things over and over again? And if you're saying anything negative or unwanted, or disrespecting your awesome self, even in a tiny way because you think it might be funny, take a look at that. What do they say? Thoughts are like spells, and that's why they call it spelling. Our body hears this stuff. You only have to look at a positive person that looks after themselves and then someone that doesn't, and see how those two life paths go, and the people around them, and what happens to the people, the environment around these two people. It's not rocket science. If we're good to ourselves and we speak good to ourselves, we have a better life. It's that simple. Life's going to throw all sorts of stuff at you. You might as well try and master this thing, so at least you've got a good fighting chance of flowing around the rock. And also realize when you might be the rock. And, I'm being the rock, I'll step aside. If your actions aren't aligning with what you really want to be doing, this is the next step. When you're watching yourself, are you telling yourself, oh, I'm going to be this and going to be that, or I want to do this and I want to do that? But then you look at what you're doing and it doesn't align with that person, that vision that you've got, that future fantasy of yourself. Time just passes by. And we get to this point where we're like, oh, I didn't do the thing. I haven't done the thing. I'll do it in the future. You might not. You might not. And if you listen to the last live where we're talking about regrets, we don't want to go there. We don't want to regret anything. If you're repeating the same patterns and habits, then we need to start looking at what's going on up here and listening to yourself. What are you saying to yourself? What are you missing? What do you know you need to change but you haven't changed? Do you need to quit that thing? Do you need to tell that person what you need to? Do you need to tell that person that you love them? Or that you need to phase someone out of your life to protect yourself? Create some boundaries? I had no boundaries growing up. I didn't even know what boundaries were. I used to people please. I'd go out of my way for people that I didn't really like. I didn't get it. All of this stuff, I just didn't get it. Didn't know this information. And when I learned this information and I started watching myself and how I was acting and being, I didn't always like what I saw. I always imagined if I could have met myself, that version would have hated it at points. they would have felt sorry for me, because I really was, we were all growing up and we were all figuring it out, but I was clumsy, I was reckless, I was on a self-destructing mission to just obliterate myself, and that's just, what is that? That's something that we need to heal within us. If we catch ourselves saying anything that aligns with disrespect, then we need to sweep that stuff up. So what do? We catch it. We say, in the past, I said I was a fucking idiot, but now I'm going to change that. And this works on a deeper level. My friend said yesterday, I keep on waking up at 3 a.m. every morning. Have you got any tips for that? And I said, yeah. Start by catching what you're saying. I wake up at 3 a.m. every morning. Even if it's true, even if it's happening, what you're doing by repeating it is you're grabbing on to what happened in the past and you're hugging it in the present, and you go, this is what I do, and then you're projecting it into the future. So no matter what it is, if it's something you don't want, catch it, watch it, observe yourself saying it and go, oh, this is that self-talk stuff. So for that guy, what he's got to do is figure out why he might be waking up at 3 a.m. and how to change that. I've had this a lot. People have told me that they keep waking up in the middle of the night, and we go through all these different steps, and I say, are you drinking like water, tea or anything before you go to bed? And I'm like, yeah. Stop doing that. Stop drinking after like 9 o'clock or whatever, and see if it makes a difference. See if you wake up 2 hours later or 2 hours before, see if anything changes. And I can't tell you the amount of people that have texted me and said, yeah, that worked. Yeah, not waking up in the morning. It's because, they're getting up to go to the toilet. But we don't think about this sort of stuff sometimes. This is what I'm talking about. We have these thousands of negative thoughts a day. Scientifically proven, 50 to, 80,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those are negative, and 95% of that 80% is repetitive. So we've got to catch these ones. We've got to catch these negative thoughts, and we've got to rewire ourselves to repeat what we do want. Noticing the thoughts, the wow, watch, observe, witness is everything. It's absolutely everything. If you do this for the weekend and just watch what's going on up there, just watch what you're saying to yourself. Even the little things like, oh, you dope. Oh, that's another one. Oh, you dope. I used to say that all the time. Oh, you fucking idiot. Oh, you this, oh, you that. And I enjoyed playing the clown because I felt like a clown and I enjoyed it. That's what I did until I read this stuff. So we've got the science. The science is telling us that we have these negative, repetitive thoughts. The schools system that we went through never mentioned any of this stuff, They didn't know, but now we know. So we have to teach ourselves. This stuff still isn't in the curriculum, which blows my mind. It's ridiculous, because when you learn this stuff, it changes everything. We have to watch what's going on up here because it changes everything. It changes everything. So this weekend, practice this. Watch, observe, witness everything that's going on up here. Catch it like a butterfly and go, oh, okay, I didn't really mean that. I'm going to rewire that to something positive, something optimistic. And if you can't quite get to the optimism, or you're not really feeling positive, you don't have to fake that stuff. Just find a neutral place. So if you're saying, I'm such this, or I'm such that, or feel this, or feel that, you don't have to lie to yourself and go, I feel amazing, because that's lying. You know when you're lying, and it doesn't work. So what we have to do is we have to at least reach this level of neutrality and go, okay, in the past I've been saying this, this, and this, but now I'm going to work on that. That's brilliant. There's your round of applause for reaching neutrality. Is that a word? We've got to catch what we don't want, and then we've got to start saying what we do want. And if you're not ready to say super big things and project yourself into this awesome future version of yourself, just start saying the next level up. Whatever it is for you, figure that out. So pen and paper or notes on your phone, and write down 5 things that you do want to experience in life. It could be to do with family, friends, your work, it could be a hobby you're doing, and whatever it is, have 5 things that you know you're always going to want. And what I'd love you to do is I'd love you to get a stack of cards or paper and cut up into kind of card shape form, and every single day, without fail, all right, you can have the weekends off. Monday to Friday, without fail, write down, I am so happy and grateful now, and then whatever the hell you want. As long as it's something you're working towards, something that you know is attainable, something that you believe you can have. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be material. It could be anything. You can change this along the way. But what it does is it helps you wire yourself on a deep level to what you do want. We know we have this ambush of negative thoughts constantly. And this daily mission of writing down what you do want, it becomes like your North Star. It becomes your GPS. No matter what is happening in your life, you are guided to this thing. And if you do it first thing in the morning, and you feel it, things start to change. And how do things start to change? Not necessarily miraculously, everything falls into place. You start to follow what you're putting out there. You start to act accordingly, differently. You start to act abundantly. I'm so happy and grateful now. I am healthy and happy. I'm so happy and grateful now. I'm a multimillionaire. I'm so happy and grateful now. I sold a big transformation course today. Check the link below. It's amazing. Whatever it is for you, you've got to feel it, believe it, and love it, and write it down and enjoy that process. And as long as you're doing the action towards that thing that you're writing down, you'll start to notice that when these opportunities come up, you are so much more in tune with those opportunities. You are so much more likely to take that chance, to say that thing, to follow through with whatever it is. And this is it. We are going through life. We are focused on the thing, whatever it is. Don't write a million things. Write one thing and stick to it and make sure you do it, and then accomplish it, and then write down another thing. But even if this thing takes 5 years, if you love it that much, look at the science of this. Look at the most powerful or the most wealthiest people in the world, when they've been studied, which they have relentlessly. We find that the common theme is that they write down their goals. They write down what they do want. So this can work for love, health, wealth, success, freedom, whatever it is that makes you go, oh, I want that. Do the action, write it down, go to bed with a smile on your face. Wake up, write it down, do the action. Monday to Friday, without fail. I'd love you to let me know in the comments if you're going to do this. Give me a thumbs up, give me a yes. So thanks for joining me, thanks for being here. This is a game changer. Love you very, very much. Please do check out the big transformation course in the bio. It's an absolute game changer. It's full of all of this sort of stuff, and it leads you through a roadmap path, and it gives you the next bit at the right time. And you'll find that when you do this consistently on a daily basis, it becomes like a surround sound echo chamber for keeping you accountable for sticking to that vision. Whatever that vision is for you, you create that. And this guy inspires you, motivates you, kicks you up your ass when you need it, and encourages you all the way. And when you're struggling at the top and you're like, oh, I can't quite do it, I'll give you a little nudge. Just a little nudge, nothing to, just a little nudge. Lovely to see you all. Thanks for staying. Have the most amazing weekend, whenever you watch this. And I'll see you soon. Love you.